US-Israel war with Iran Day 45. 1. Trump says Iran called in. They want to work a deal. This is the biggest development of the day, and it just broke after announcing a naval blockade, after 21 hours of failed talks, after threatening to eliminate Iranian ships. President Trump said today that Iranian officials have called and want to work a deal. He told reporters he was contacted by the right people in Iran. Pakistan is already offering to host the next round of talks in Islamabad. The S&P 500 rallied over 1% on that statement alone, erasing all its losses since the war began February 28th. 2. Trump threatened to eliminate Iranian ships that approached the blockade. On Truth Social this morning, Trump posted, "Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea." He first claimed Iran's navy had been obliterated, then clarified that the US had not hit Iran's fast attack ships because it didn't consider them a threat. Within hours of that post, he was claiming Iran called wanting a deal. 3. Thousands of Iranians rallied in Tehran today against the blockade. As the US blockade took effect, thousands of Iranians gathered in Tehran in public protest, calling it piracy. Iran's armed forces issued an official statement. The imposition of restrictions on the movement of vessels in international waters is an illegal act and amounts to piracy. The IRGC warned that Iran would introduce new forms of warfare that opponents would have limited ability to counter. No details were given on what those new forms are. Iran is also implementing what it called a permanent mechanism to control the strait, signaling it views this as a long-term reality, not a temporary wartime measure. 4. The UK, France, and Europe are refusing to join the blockade. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said directly, "We are not supporting a blockade of Iran's ports." He said the UK's focus is reopening the strait, not blocking it. He added that this is the only way to get energy bills down for people in the UK who are paying the price of this war. France went further. President Macron announced France and the UK would co-organise a conference of countries prepared to contribute to a peaceful multinational mission aimed at restoring freedom of navigation in the strait, explicitly separate from the US blockade. France, Spain, Turkey, and China have all condemned the move. 5. Israel and Lebanon meet in Washington today, for the first time since 1983. The Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors are meeting at the US State Department today, the first official direct talks between the two countries in 43 years. Israel's goal, disarmament of Hezbollah. Lebanon's goal, a ceasefire first, then everything else. Hezbollah's chief Naim Qassem has already rejected the talks and demanded Lebanon's president cancel them. The Lebanese government said Israel has destroyed roughly 40,000 houses in Lebanon in the last 35 days. Over 2,089 people killed. Netanyahu crossed into Lebanon on Sunday and said displaced residents of southern Lebanon will not be allowed to return to their homes. Israel's defense minister said the goal is to destroy houses in the area to prevent Hezbollah from using them. 6. Iran published a map routing ships away from its mines in Hormuz. The IRGC released a navigation map of the Strait of Hormuz showing a safe route for ships, directing vessels farther north, closer to the Iranian coast, and away from the traditional route near Oman. The statement said all vessels must use the new map due to the likelihood of the presence of various types of anti-ship mines in the main traffic zone. Iran is now effectively charging a toll, controlling the route, and publishing the navigation chart. 7. Turkey's Erdogan has threatened military action against Israel, a new escalation that hasn't gotten enough attention. Turkish President Erdogan has threatened military action against Israel over its continued operations in Lebanon. This follows Turkey's earlier condemnation of the blockade. Turkey is a NATO member. Israel is a US ally. If this threat moves toward action, it creates a direct collision between NATO's eastern anchor and America's closest Middle Eastern partner. 8. The US Energy Secretary confirmed prices will keep rising. US Energy Secretary Chris Wright said it plainly at a Washington conference Monday. "We are going to see energy prices high, and maybe even rising until meaningful ship traffic gets through the Strait of Hormuz." Oil closed around $99 a barrel Monday. It was $67 before the war began. That is a 48% increase in 45 days. And the Energy Secretary just confirmed it is not coming down until the strait reopens. 9. The UN Secretary General is calling for talks to resume immediately. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called today for the US and Iran to resume negotiations, saying the blockade risks collapsing the fragile ceasefire entirely. The ceasefire officially expires in 8 days. April 22. No next round of talks is officially scheduled. No framework exists. No date has been confirmed. Pakistan says it is ready to host again. Iran says the ball is in America's court. America says the ball is in Iran's court. 10. The ceasefire is still technically in effect. Everything else suggests otherwise. A US blockade of Iranian ports is active, or Iran is threatening new forms of warfare. A Hezbollah is firing rockets into northern Israel. Israel is bombing Lebanon. Thousands are protesting in Tehran. Europe is refusing to follow America. Erdogan is threatening Israel. And Trump says Iran called wanting a deal. The ceasefire expires in 8 days, day 45.